Good morning, everybody. Been a while. I had to take a little time to myself. Feeling a little overwhelmed with life. I guess all of us are sometimes, more than others. So I'm not here at my double secret fishing spot. Actually, not in the United States of America right now. It's 643 miles that way. Big fatty storm. Look at the storm building up. Look at those clouds. Figuratively and literally a storm over there in the good old USA. Just boiling up. Yeah. Well, I am on the island of Bermuda, North Shore, my last morning here. And I thought it would be fitting to come and say hello again. Take a breath, take a time out. Because guess what, my fellow Americans? America is not the only place on the planet Earth. No, it is not. How are y'all doing with the inherited conversations? Evaluating any or all parts of it? Hopefully. Yeah. Bermuda's got an interesting history. I'm not a historian of it yet, but it's got a checkered past. Just like that back there. Kind of started here almost. 1607 Jamestown colony. One of the first settlers from jolly old England. This is still a English colony, English territory. It's nice here. People are nice. It's a little expensive, but you know, when you're sitting on an island, a 21 square mile island in the middle of the Atlantic, things are going to be a little expensive. Well worth every penny. Every penny. So apparently, this island was, well, when it was discovered, 1500, I think, I read, no one was found living here. The Portuguese and the Spanish came and went, but they never settled it. And when the English were venturing out into the New World, well, this became a spot to colonize. Well, apparently, a flotilla of 7 ships in 1609, on their way to the Jamestown colony, full of supplies and settlers and all of that, ran into a nasty storm. And one of the ships ran into the reefs of this island to keep itself from sinking. Everyone was saved on board, but they were stranded here for a while. And soon word came to other ships before they were able to leave that things weren't going so great over there. They weren't prepared. Maybe their attitudes were wrong. Maybe their inherited conversation about how to treat the indigenous folks over there wasn't the greatest. So many variables. First Thanksgiving. Yeah. But I did read that even though no indigenous folks were found here, apparently in the late 1600s, if that late, a lot of the Algonquin tribes along the eastern seaboard were being rounded up and sent here as slaves. Shocking. Can't seem to get past that. that narrative, wandering the world, enslaving people, because we can, because we were told to. We're ordained by God in 1453 by Pope Nicholas. It's called the Doctrine of Discovery. You should look it up, read it. Basically a blank check for folks like Cortez and, well, our good old buddy Christopher Columbus. You know, we just celebrated, well, I celebrated Indigenous Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Some people did not. Some chose to go the other route. Here we are still with the same sorry ass inherited conversation, as if we, the white folks, I'm a white folk, have some idea about how we're called to take anyone other than us, that look like us and believe like us, and put our heels on their neck, put them in chains and ship them off to other places around the world because we can. We think we have the right. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. It's disgusting. That's what I'll say about it. It's disgusting. And the attitude's still alive. It's still happening in one way, shape, form, or fashion. And it's sad and it's unnecessary. That's my opinion. You know, I'm a former Army veteran. I was in the reserves. I'm not a lifer. And a former practicing Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ, but I don't believe in the people who wield his name as it's a weapon, rather than an olive branch of peace amongst humans. And I look at that storm brewing over there, and it's long overdue, because our country's attitude towards anyone who's not white, Christian, heterosexual, and male is kind of lame. It works for a handful of folks, but it leaves everyone else in the dust. The inherited conversation. Yeah. I'm going back this morning, back to New York, with a little different perspective, a little more hope, maybe for the world in general. That over there, I think that storm has just begun. But how can it continue? It's not right. It's not natural. I love my country. And I love what believing in Christ brought to me as a human. But I am seriously questioning them both. Not for what they stand for in principle, but for the people who use the principles. You know? No good. So what can we do? Well, we can first start with ourselves and make sure that we're not perpetuating that. What's the part of the Declaration of Independence? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal by their Creator and endowed certain inalienable rights, such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There's a couple words in there that are interesting to look at. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Synonym for that would be obvious. Created equal. Okay. I agree with that. By their creator, not the creator, their. That sounds like the choice to choose your spiritual path, life. Well, that's obvious. To be alive, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is such an ambiguous word because some people derive their happiness from the miseries of others. Sounds like those two concepts have been doing this from day one. Seems like those concepts have been doing this in the name of Christianity at its core. Jesus' words is what I'm referring to. Love your neighbor as yourself. Well, I think people just don't love themselves, so how could they love their neighbors when they don't love themselves? Well, what has someone not loved themselves? Well, someone has convinced them through an inherited conversation that they're not worthy. They must do X, Y, and Z, and say X, Y, and Z, and do this to these people and do that, to find some relief in their unhappiness and their unworthiness. Wow. It's a hell of a racket. It's been working for a long time, but that right there is proof. Time's up. I mean no ill will to my country. I want to see peace. I guess there's an old saying from the 60s. Let there be peace in the world and let it begin with me. My inherited conversation is to think of other human beings as less than me and entitles me to treat them so. That's a broken conversation. And honestly, it doesn't deserve to see the light of another day. And you know, the only reason why it continues is because we allow it to. We put up with it. We worry too much about 401ks and electric bills and real estate. I get it, it's all important. Groceries. I've not heard a word about the price of eggs. Not in a long time. Weird, huh? All of that matters. But what's here in your heart? Start there. It's not a command, it's a suggestion. I'm not into the game of making things anyway. Making anyone do anything. Because that's a synonym for forcing something. What is there to be forced to do? Enslaving people once again? Here? Well, algorithms be damned. They're doing a damn good job of it. I apologize. I normally don't swear like this, but you know, it seems appropriate. Oh yeah. I want to get back to the one point that I made. That there were no indigenous people found on this island, but apparently in the mid to late 1600s, they rounded up a lot of those eastern tribes and they enslaved them and brought them to this island. Why? You just couldn't figure out how to get along? You just felt like entitled to do it? So strange, so unnecessary. It's like a black hole, like a beast that never gets enough to eat, while everyone else starves in their minds and in their hearts and in their spirit and most times their bodies. And that attitude has bled over into many other ethnic groups around the world. It's like a disease, it's like a cancer. This country, that country, over there. Seemed like it had had some pretty good principles written down on paper, but it seems like been trying to back out of those words before the ink dried on the paper. I don't get it. So start with yourself. Start here. And when I look at you, I see myself. I see a light, a spirit, a soul. I don't see an enemy. I don't see the other. I want to come up and shake your hand and ask you what your name. And I want to know about you. I am not inclined to be scared of people who don't look like me, who don't talk like me, who don't believe like me. It's a broken, inherited conversation. And you know when it's going to end? When we, the people, choose. Remember the distinction. Choose for it to end. Not through violence. Not through manipulation. Not through he said, she said, us against them. No, that's all broken. When we go out into the world, we walk out of our front door and we see people, humans, and look at them as such. Because they were, at one time, just like you and I, before they inherited whatever conversation they did. A 4-year-old, I'm down here, 4-year-old, running in and around in the world, curious, not afraid. We only became afraid until we were told to. Well, I think it's time to stop being afraid. Let there be peace in the world, on earth, and let it begin with us. That's it. Anything else? Same old, same old. Peace, my friends.